Hi. So I thought I've been selling spoon blanks on eBay and Etsy for quite some time, and I thought that I would do a demonstration for the people who bought my blanks in the past, or maybe to interest someone new. I'm called Butternut Spoon Carver on Etsy, and you can just search for spoon blanks on eBay. I have a butternut spoon blank. I also sell cherry and black walnut, but butternut is by far the easiest. It's quite nice that it has a beautiful grain, but it's a lightweight wood that's easy to carve. And really, I keep saying it, and I don't know if it's because I've been carving spoons for so long, but carving spoons, a lot of people would like to do it, are a bit intimidated by it. And really, carving spoons is just a matter of taking the spoon blank and carving away everything that doesn't look like a spoon. You'll notice when I carve, I always carve away from myself. I always say no meat in front of the knife. We're here to carve wood, not me. And I also have these knives, which I get from a knifesmith and sell on my shop as well. I have all kinds of knives that I've used over the years. There's a couple of different ways to carve, and maybe we'll have time to do videos on others using a gouge and draw knife, or draw knife. But for the time being, we're just going to carve a simple butternut spoon. I also sell them in all different sizes, but 10 inches, if people want to start, this is what I would suggest people start with. Butternut is easy to carve. 10 inches is a nice size spoon. It's good for stirring pots. It's also good for serving. And they're full 1 inch thick, so you can get quite a nice deep bowl on the spoon. The knife also, I have some very nice smaller knives, and you can use different knives for different things, but as a general purpose knife, this is an excellent knife. It's made from high carbon steel by a knifesmith. It's probably not the prettiest knife in the world, but it's a knife that works really well. And I do want some sort of length, especially for this area and the point of the spoon, and it seems always to be one of the more difficult areas. And, there are other ways of doing this. I started out taking a person fishing who loved to fish, and personally, I don't love to fish. I think there's a very thin line between fishing and sitting on the bank of a river doing nothing. And I also always chose to do nothing. So doing it this way allows me to basically bring my knives and my blank along with me. I frequently have a spoon blank in my back pocket, and just sit and whittle. I think it's probably the next step up from a good sharp stick, but you really end up with something pretty lovely. I've been doing this for years and years, and I generally stick them in a box under my bed, and around Christmas time, friends and coworkers all get spoons, which everyone seems to enjoy. And I've been in friends' kitchens and had a spoon that I had given them 10 years before being used to stir the soup. This was a very good feeling. So we're going to work our way around. My spoon blanks I always get the leftovers that aren't quite right, because everything I want other people to have is high quality stuff. So there's some wormholes in this that someone else might not appreciate. In general, when I'm carving the bowl, I'm using my thumb as a fulcrum. It helps to keep my hand out of the way. It helps to give me a little bit more control. and it gives me a little bit more power. I'm just babbling on as I do this. I'm hoping to do about a 15-minute video, put it on my blog, and come back and maybe do some more another time. This is my first foray into YouTube land. So the hook knife, and this is the part I think you could use. There are lots of different things you could use for your utility straight blade, but the hook knife, if you're doing it this way, is absolutely essential. And what we need to do is hollow out the bowl. And generally we start across grain, and we're moving a lot of material at this point in time. And again, I'm using my thumb as a fulcrum to give me a little bit more control and power and safety. And we're just going to continue to move wood, or remove wood. I also, the blanks are big and blocky, and I think it allows people to make choices for themselves. Sometimes you'll find that the wood makes choices for you, and you're basically working along with the piece of wood that you have at hand. Good sharp knives are always important. High carbon steel holds a sharp edge for a very long time. And it's a whole nother video to talk about knives. Most of the other videos you'll find that I've found on YouTube have to do with carving green wood, which is softer and easier to use. This is kiln dried but full dimension lumber, and it's harder to carve, but it is kiln dried. And the problem with green wood frequently is you can put a great effort into carving a beautiful spoon, only to have it split later while your spoon is drying. This will be very stable and ready to go. I think we all do this for different reasons, and we have different methods based on those reasons. The nice part about this carving is these big pieces of wood are quite easy to sweep up later. It's kind of a fun thing to do at night in front of the fire. Actually, spring is here at this moment. You can take it fishing while you're waiting for nothing to happen, I guess. But doing it, I don't hesitate to carve in the house. It's easy enough to clean up with. And I do finish things off by sanding. And I don't sand in the house. I don't think we need those little particles of wood, the sawdust floating through the air to be breathed in. So I gave you about 10 minutes of carving, and hopefully we will come back and do another 10 minutes of carving. And in a couple of videos, we'll have a spoon to show you. The cool thing, however, is that these spoons continue to change color. Butternut in particular starts to turn dark. It's a lot like, it has the grain and a lot of the color of walnut as it ages, but it's soft and easy to carve. Walnut is very heavy and very difficult to carve. There's a tremendous amount of weight. The basswood or linden trees have a very soft, very easy to carve wood, but they have no grain. They're just so light and so plain that if you're going to use a natural finish, and that's all that I would use on your spoon, they're just not very pretty. I think they're fine for projects where you're painting and doing little carvings. And I do use basswood for my bird carving, which is potentially another video or several more videos. And you'll find bird carving blanks on my Etsy store as well, Butternut Spoon Carver at Etsy. But that's about it for now. Thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll be back soon.